Good evening. Welcome to the Monday Night Show on Boro Fan TV with me, James Hutchinson. Well, Boro fans, Boro suffered a whopping 2-1 defeat at Bristol City at the weekend. Tonight we're going to sift through the wreckage of that game, as well as looking ahead to this week's matches with West Brom and Barnsley, as Boro hopefully will return to the top six in the Championship. Joining me on the show this week to discuss all things Boro is Damon LaRoche. How are you doing, Damon?
I'm all right, James. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. You're welcome, mate. And as always, Boro fans, we'd love to hear from you on tonight's show. Fingers crossed we'll fare a bit better than we did last week with any technical hitches or glitches. Hopefully everything will run a bit more smoothly tonight, but we'll wait and see. That's all in the lap of the gods. Anyway, Damon, we'll go back to Saturday first and the game with Bristol City. As Storm Eunice battered the country on Friday, Boro had to alter their preparations somewhat, and they ended up travelling down to the West Country on a coach rather than flying down. Do you think that had sort of any influence over what happened the following day?
I mean, I was debating this with my father, and I think it's like a poor excuse, really. You can blame the wind, you can blame the coach to trip down, because they were going to go on the plane, weren't they? But it didn't happen because of the storm. But as I said, it's just the way it was, really. I mean, we set up as we normally do with the 3-5-2, is it, formation, and unfortunately things didn't turn out on the day. And I think he went in with a game plan, did Nigel Pearson, and done the job on us.
Yeah. Was there any surprise for you, Damon, that Chris Wilder named an unchanged lineup from the game against Derby the week before? I mean, we did win that game 4-1. It was an impressive performance. But did you expect any changes to the starting lineup in that game against Bristol City?
I had a feeling he would stick with the same team. To be honest, I was surprised. Obviously, Sparrow was out ill, but because I wouldn't have minded Sparrow in with Watmore in there, because I think they just offered just a little bit more than Balogun and Connolly at the present time. But I think it was disappointing to see Crooksy pick up the card when he did as well. So because we were going to be without him for a couple of games now, aren't we? So
okay, disappointing. Yeah, Patrick, we will talk about Matt Crooks in a little bit, Damon. Patrick Wheatley's got in touch. Hope you're well, Patrick. He said, "Hiya, lads. Really poor performance on Saturday. This is where I think we will go on a bad slip now, and I'm really worried." That was going to be a question I was going to ask later on, but we might as well bring it up now that Patrick's mentioned it, Damon. I mean, it's 3 defeats in 16 games for Boro under Chris Wilder, and I must admit, I was a little bit taken aback after the game with the reaction of some Boro fans and the response. And I mean, everyone's entitled to views and opinions, but I was a little bit shocked that the team came in for quite a bit of criticism after losing that game. Were you, or did you think I expect them to cop a bit after this?
Yeah, I think it's undeserved stick, really. To be honest, I mean, you got to look at it. 15 games and 1 defeat in that 15 games, and I mean, some of the Boro fans. I mean, yeah, as you said, James, it's their opinion, but they've got. So I think some of them need the red test, if I'm truly honest with you, because I can't see how can they grumble at the performances we've been putting in week and week out. I just think we've been phenomenal, and I just think they just need to chill out a bit and just think of the bigger picture in hand.
Yeah, Ron Finley's got in touch. Thanks for doing that, Ron. He said, "We can't win every game, chin up and onwards and upwards." Totally agree, Ron. And Lee Thistlewaite got back in touch with us as well. He said, "I thought we played really well, especially against a bogey team of ours." And we also had Lee Fisher getting in touch, and he said, "I thought Bristol City did a good job on us by not allowing Isaiah Jones space." He said, "Second half, their keeper made 3 or 4 good saves, some wasted opportunities," which I think is fair comment. And on to tomorrow night against West Brom. Damon, I mean, it was the first time this season that we conceded a goal in the opening 15 minutes of a match, which I think is quite an astonishing stat when you think we're into February now, and that's the first time we've let a goal in the opening 15 minutes. But it was a poor goal to concede, wasn't it?
It was sloppy. The marking was shocking as well. I thought Lumley could have done a bit better, if I'm honest, but I've never been the greatest of Lumley fans, to be honest. And I see Charlie's comment there, Lumley must go, and I echo them sentiments, really. I think
Do you
we
think
need...
Sorry, Dame, to cut in. Do you think that's helpful, though, when you think at the end of the day, there's Luke Daniels, Joe Lumley, and there isn't really many other options. Obviously, Lumley's going to be the number one between now and the end of the season. And I'm sure he'll hear all the things that go around in terms of social media and hear comments at the games and stuff like that. Do you think that's helpful? Even if you don't maybe think that Joe Lumley is up to the job, we've got to back him, haven't we?
I mean, I get what you're saying. Yes, of course, we've got to back him. I 100% got to back him. But when I see the games that we're in, and I've seen us live playing, some of the goals we have conceded have been sloppy and they've been preventable. And I think he could have done a little bit better. I think the only one I'd question that I'd given the benefit of the doubt was the Derby one last week when it went through about 5 bodies, I think. But some of the goalkeeping of his I'd have to question this year. But I definitely Luke. Is it Luke Daniels as well?
Yeah.
I don't see how he's only been given 2 starts as well, because I think we brought him in on a free transfer. I think he should be given a bit more of a start as well.
Okay, Zach Buckley, sorry, he's got in touch with us. Thanks again, Zach. And he said, Joe Lumley should perform better in some aspects, but as a person, he's class and I'll give him my full support. And Luke Boyd's got in touch as well. And he said, we have to back Lumley, but he scares me and gets me anxious when he's on the ball. And Lee Thistlewaite, again, got in touch with us, Damon. He said, we've been a bit spoiled by the wins we've had under Wilder. 3 losses over 15 games is a stat we wouldn't have believed before he came in. I think that was something we discussed before we came on air. We were a side pre-Chris Wilder that very rarely strung 2 wins together, yet we've gone on a great run and hoping not jinxing tomorrow night, but we've won 6 on the spin at home. And this is all stuff that should breed confidence amongst the fans and the players, shouldn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the fans play a part in the entire 90 minutes of a football match. We all know this, James. You can't. I see a section when I go at the games, I see some of them booing, and for me, I don't boo at all when I'm at the game. I'm forever cheering non-stop, whether it be in the South Stand, North Stand, West Stand, wherever. It's just the fact being that I see the minority that boo, and I can't understand it. For me, why would you boo your own support? You know, the players need us as a 12th man beyond the team through the entire minutes. That's why we get these performances.
Mm-hmm. On Saturday, Riley McGree came on in the second half. He replaced Neil Taylor, and Tav went to left wing back. Do you think that might be the case tomorrow? Because obviously there's no Matt Crooks. Do you think McGree will come into midfield tomorrow night, and you might see Tav at left wing back again tomorrow, Damon?
Yeah, I think it could be, because Bowler's not far away. He's got a couple of weeks, I think, left before he's back on the grass with the lads training. I could see Tav going to left back and then left wing back, and then Isaiah Jones on the right wing back, and then you've got Riley McGree taking that place of Tav and Crooks' place in that hole behind the front two. And I think you won't see. I think you could see Sparrow and Watmore tomorrow.
Yeah, well, we'll chat about the West Brom game further on in the show, Damo. Back on Saturday, we did speak in last week's show about Semenyo and Wyman up front for Bristol City, and as things would have it, they both got on the score sheet on Saturday. And I thought Boro played some good football at times, and I include our forwards in that. But is the lack of cutting edge up front still an issue? And what can be done to resolve that in the remainder of the season?
It is. It's a huge problem, I think, James. I think the problem is that we're creating these chances, and if you shot I said to my dad, if you shot a likes of a Brereton Diaz or a Mitrovic in our team, I said it's a guarantee. It's a guarantee you're going to go up. It's a guarantee. It's more or less a guarantee you're going to get goals because we're creating chances by the bucket load. Just can't put it in the net. It shows as well by the goal difference. I think it's plus 9. Is it we're on or +8 now?
It's 9-8.
And then
8.
And I think I think Fulham's on 51. So it just goes to show. It just goes to show the difference in what we need and what needs addressing. And then definitely I'd be looking at Semenyo and Wyman as one of them for Middlesbrough, no doubt about it.
Right,
they're took it apart Saturday.
Yeah. Patrick Wheatley's got in touch with us again there, and he's mentioned there we need Sporer back as soon as possible. Obviously, he was missing through illness at the weekend. And with regards to Isaiah Jones, Ron Finley said Jones is always going to get marked, so we need to mix things up a little bit. In terms of goals, it was Matt Crooks that got on the score sheet for the Boro very late on Saturday, Damon. However, his suspension for the next 2 games, that's almost as big a blow as losing that match on Saturday, isn't it? Because when you think what he brings to the team, and certainly in terms of the physicality that he gives us at both ends of the pitch, he's going to be a big miss in those next 2 games, isn't he?
Well, yeah, huge. I mean, we rely on him for our set players, don't we? Off corners, free kicks, and things like that. I like Matt Crooks. I think he's been probably one of our, if not our best signing we've ever made in the last 5 years at least. He's a lovely lad as well. Spoke to him in person. Definitely going to be a big miss, but hopefully Riley McGree comes in, does a job, because I like this. When he came on last week, he was fantastic for that little bit of play he had against Derby. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it's a short time from now and the West Brom game, so we've got a chance to put it right.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for McGree, isn't it? Like you say, he's had little sort of cameos off the bench so far, but now he's going to, in all likelihood, start tomorrow night, and it's a big opportunity for the lad, isn't it?
It is, and we saw what he's capable of. If he can pull another scorpion kick out, I'm sure we'd be all cheering and jumping up and down, James. But definitely, I like anyone who puts on the Boro shirt. I give everyone a chance. I can see. I can't understand like how he hasn't had much of a chance. I think he might get a chance, Lee Saliki as well, to prove himself in the next few games as well. Because while they did say today that he would, obviously he's paying his wages from now to the end of the season. So hopefully we need to see some reward from that.
Yeah, let us know, Boro fans. Would you like to see James Lee Saliki involved between now and the end of the season? One person who's got in touch with us is Graham Strike. Hope you're well, Graham. He's commented on the forward situation at the club and said there doesn't seem to be that connection between any of the pairings that we've got at the moment. And I think Watmore is probably more of a threat off the bench. So for me, Sporer and Balogun. Who would be your choice as maybe a partnership if we're going to go 2 up top, Damon? Who would you go with?
I mean, I like Sporer and Balogun, don't get me wrong, for the pace and the hold-up play with Sporer. But for me, I'd definitely give Watmore a chance because that lad runs his backside off for the entire 90 minutes. But as people are saying, he's more like an impact, a super sub, isn't he, lately? So.
And do you think as well it might be a case of, obviously he's had a lot of injury problems in the past, like serious knee injuries. So do you think it's a case of it's very difficult for Watmore to maybe string a run of matches together, that he maybe needs time off between games to maybe be on the bench and he can't play week in, week out?
Maybe he's that as well, James, because I mean, some can be fatigued, couldn't they? And if you pick up little knocks in training, because they must go in really hard, because that's how Bowler got his injury in training. So if they continue to go hard in training, then obviously they're gonna you're gonna pick up what knocks here and there, and you can't afford that. We can't afford to pick up any more injuries.
Yeah. Patrick Waitley would go Watmore and Sporrer all day long. Anton de Sedge, meanwhile, is not in favour of James Lee Saliki coming back in. He feels he lacks consistency. Colin Fry there's also got in touch with us with regards to the goal scoring situation. Said Crook's top scorer with 9, Sporrer 7, and then very few from elsewhere. So yeah, it is a bit of an issue. And obviously on Saturday we lost at Bristol City, and Isaiah Jones, he's not going to turn it in, week out, and put in worldly performances. And by his recent standards, he had a quiet game at the weekend, and he was well man-marked by Bristol City. But do you think there's an issue, and one or two people have raised this case, Damon, that maybe we lack options elsewhere? If Isaiah Jones isn't turning it on, where else is the threat going to come from? What would your response to that be, Damon?
You see, that's where I look at it. I look at it through the entire game, and I look through the stats and everything else that goes with game by game, and I see we dominated that game. I think we had 63 possession. They only had 36, and then the corners were ridiculous. I think 13 to the 0. So it just goes to show how much we dominated that game, and we still lost. I can't see apart from Isaiah Jones where we lack. I think we lack that number 10. I still think we need that number 10. As Wilder reiterates, he's going to need a couple of windows. We said this before we come on air, didn't we, James? That we're going to need a couple of windows to get this right. And I think we still need a number 10. Like I said, the Gaston mould, as we keep on saying, someone like that. If you get someone like that, I think we've got a really good chance.
Yeah, and I think Anton makes a good point here where he mentions about Mark Ball, and this isn't to decry Neil Taylor, because I think Neil Taylor's done a good job for us at left back, but he's not as dynamic as, say, Mark Bowler, who will get up and down and maybe contribute a little bit more going forward. I think Taylor, obviously 35 years old, maybe his first consideration is his defensive side of things, but Bowler, I think, will offer a little bit more balance to the side and a little bit more of an outlet on the left. Would you agree, Damon?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I'm being the biggest fan of Mark Bowler's. Don't get me wrong, but because the last game I think I saw him play was Swansea, which is going back, I think, a few months now, at the Riverside, and he was injured shortly afterwards, and I was a bit annoyed because he's straight pass after straight pass after straight pass, but anyone can do that, I think. But as I said, I think he gets down. He does get down the wings more. I think it was like he's a bit like Hayden Coulson for that when he used to do that, get down the wings. And I was surprised, like say, we didn't give Hayden Coulson a chance when we recalled him, but that's we can do and ah and everything and all that sort.
Well, he didn't have a great day on Saturday, did he? Getting a red card at Derby.
That's it. He got sent off. The 2 challenges were shocking.
Yeah. Graham Strike's got in touch again, Damon. He's mentioned, could McGree be the answer to the number 10 situation? Do you think he could possibly be your number 10 player?
It could be. It could be. It's only Wilder and know where he could put. I mean, even Taff could probably play there. Mm-hmm. Or Duncan Watmore could play there. But whether for me, I just think you need someone with a bit of muscle and bustle in there, and I think if you get that sort of player, like we had Naskins Cabano, didn't we? Last year, a couple of years ago. Now, he was phenomenal. Look what he's doing now. If you got someone of that ilk in at the Boro, again, I think you're going places. But as I said, we trust in Wilder, so
yeah, definitely do, mate. And Boro return to action tomorrow night. Boro fans against West Bromwich Albion at the Riverside. Damon, have the Baggies' struggles surprised you this year? Because I mean, well, relatively speaking, struggles. I mean, I think a lot of people expected when they came down from the Premier League that they would if not being top 2, certainly nailed on to be top 6. Yet recently they've really struggled, haven't they?
They have, and it's the defence that's let them down, James. I think they've got a poor defence. They're all right going forward with Carl and Grant, good player, Connor Townsend, and now they've got Andy Carroll, so we'd have to man marshal him come tomorrow night. But I thought West Brom were a decent side, but as I said, defensively poor, and that just shows how they've just fallen off the face with strings of bad results, and that's why they changed the manager when they did. Ishmael wasn't getting the best out of the team. That's why he got sacked, and Steve Bruce is taking charge, and he still hasn't picked up a win. So
no, I mean on a couple of points there, Damon. Does it surprise you that they've got rid of Ishmael, considering he only came in the summer, and he obviously came in with a big reputation from what he did at Barnsley, but with the greatest respect, Barnsley and West Brom had very different expectations for what they could do. And then secondly, Steve Bruce, he's tried and tested at this level. He's had promotion successes with other clubs, most recently Aston Villa. So one, did it surprise you that they replaced Ishmael? And two, how do you think, given time, how do you think Bruce will do at the Hawthorns?
I was surprised that Steve Bruce took the job, because I thought it'd be someone else with a bit more younger, but he's got the job. He got the job, and I think he'll do okay. I can't see him getting playoffs now. I think they fell away, but they're only a few points off, like we are, aren't they? So
they're only 3 points behind us, mate. I mean, if they win tomorrow night, they could conceivably go above us in the table. So they're still not a million miles away, are they?
No, well, that's it. And then, as I said, I can't see them though with just the defense. I think that's letting them down. Carl Bartley, is it, the defender?
Carl Bartley's there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a lover of him at all. I definitely wouldn't have him. Same. I couldn't understand why we've got Grant Hall, but that's another story.
And I hear what you're saying about the defence, mate, but again, does it surprise you that I think it's 5 games in a row now, not only have they not won, they've not scored a goal. And when you mention some of the players there that you've mentioned, Connor Townsend, Carl and Grant, Adam Reach, our own Adam Reach used to be up there that's at West Brom, Andy Carroll now up front. That takes some achieving that to not score a goal in 5 matches, doesn't it?
It does, and I'm shocked, because I saw on Saturday the chance that they had, and I think it was Carl and Grant that was clear on goal, and he chipped it. He loved the keeper, and he hit the bar. Yeah. And how he didn't score that is beyond me, because anyone with a duty-free brain cell could have put it in. You know what I mean? So
I hope that doesn't come back to haunt us tomorrow night, pal.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I can just see us beating them, to be honest.
Right.
Not by many, but I can see us beating them.
And what sort of a game are you expecting tomorrow? I mean, personally, I think it'll be quite a physical game. I think they're going to be set up to nullify Jones as other teams do. I think Bruce, if I remember rightly, he did a great job a few years ago when we had Adama Traore, and he was the Villa manager in the 2 playoff games, put a plan in place, stifle the midfield and the ball getting out to Traore. I think it'll be a similar sort of thing tomorrow night, I guess.
And
I think the fans that are there are going to need to be patient and back the lads, aren't they, Damon?
Yeah, I could see it being rough and ready game. Be tight, not much in it. Is Livermore still playing? Or is he suspended, James? Do you know?
I think he's suspended because he got sent off against Sheffield United, didn't he, a few weeks ago? I think tomorrow might be the last game.
He offers something else in their midfield, doesn't he? He's a rough and ready guy, and a bit like Sam Morsey, always getting himself sent off. But
so, aside from Matt Crooks, who's obviously unavailable, what other changes do you see, if any, Chris Wilder making tomorrow night?
As I said, I hope Sparrow and Watmore come in to start, because I think they just offer a little bit more than Balogun and Connolly at the present time. But if if I was going to pick any, I would keep Balogun in with Sparrow, and just have Watmore coming on off the bench, and obviously have Raleigh in and put Tav as left wing back. Yeah.
So I suppose another thing Chris Wilder has to take into consideration, Damon, is I think it's the next 4 weeks now. We've got Saturday midweek every week for the next 4 weeks. So I think he does like to rotate his forwards. So I think they're all going to be involved at various points, aren't they, over the next few weeks?
Well, that's it. And we haven't seen much of Josh Coburn yet, have we? In the Boro shirt. Hopefully that lad gets more of a chance, because we're going to need him. We're going to need everyone, even some of the youth set up, especially for the if we if we progress after the FA Cup games or anything like that, Yeah. So.
Yeah, David Olsen said it's going to be a game decided on fouls, and Lee Thistlethwaite again's got in touch, and he said, "Did I hear Andy Carroll hasn't scored for a while?" I think, Lee, I might be wrong. I think his last goal was for Reading against us at the Riverside. So, there you go. And we've also said 5 games without a goal. But let's live it up. Pal, Damon, what's your prediction for tomorrow night?
I'm going to go 2-1 Boro.
2-1 Boro? Yeah. I think it'll be a tight game tomorrow night. And I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a draw. I think West Brom will be set up to keep it very tight. I don't see there being many goals. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I've got David Sayers gone 2-0 Boro. David Olsen's gone 1-0 Boro. So, yeah, there's still plenty of positivity out there. And as Sue Waddle says, Sue just wishes the lads good luck and hope they get back to winning ways tomorrow. And I agree with that, Sue, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yep, Ron Finley's gone 1-0 Boro. Lee Thistlethwaite's also gone a 1 each. Anton de Sedge 0-0. Yep, so we'll wait and see. But Damon, the week ends with a visit to Oakwell. Bottom of the table, Barnsley are our opponents. And as always at Oakwell, Boro are going to be backed by a massive following. I think it's 4,800 tickets we've sold for Saturday. In terms of points return there, we talked about the West Brom game. What for you would be an acceptable return from this week's 2 games against West Brom and Barnsley? What for you is
to be honest, 4 points.
4 points minimum, or do you think we actually will take 4 points?
4 points minimum, 6 points max, obviously.
Right.
So
okay, well, I think 4 or 6 would be good. Definitely, I agree with you there. Yeah. Definitely. We mentioned earlier in the show about Valari Ismail, but his departure from Barnsley, that seemed to have a really negative impact on that club, and that they've struggled all season. And they've gone on a massive downturn. When you think last season they've got into the playoffs, it's been a really rough season for the Tigers, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, I feel sorry for teams like that who were not financially better off, you know what I mean, and they have to struggle here, there, and everywhere, to try and get players in. And I think their biggest loss was Alex Mauer, who was actually at West Brom, isn't he? Yeah. Now, so I think he's a quality player, and I've got a lot of time for some Barnsley fans because I know a couple of them. So up me and my mum's end. So so it's not something that I wish on anyone, because if we were in that position, I think they'll be calling for the death sentence for half the Boro fans would be anyway.
With regards to the point situation, Jack Nicholas has said I'd be happy with 4 points this week minimum. Patrick Waitley's very confident. He says it has to be 6 points this week. But Damon, it's wrong to think it's a guaranteed 3 points on Saturday at Barnsley, isn't it? I mean, I think they've only won 1 in the last 6, but that was against QPR, who were in 4th position, and they turned them over in the last game. And it's almost Barnsley now almost reached the point of they've got nothing to lose, so they're going to be fired up, and they're going to have to go for it on Saturday against us, and they're going to be dangerous opponents, aren't they? Absolutely.
I mean, this league, I've said it from day one, James. Anyone can beat anyone in this league. I mean, it shows. Who would have thought QPR's results? I was looking the other day, 3-1-0 straight defeats they've had, which absolutely baffles me for the team where they are. And the team that took us to the limit, was unbelievable. But I'd say it just justifies this league. It's how tight it is as well. Not just up the league, down the bottom as well. And I feel, as I said, feel sorry for Barnsley, but they'll give us a good go at their ground, no doubt about it. But
Yeah,
our only advantages is we've got 4,000 travelling Boro fans, and we'll make it the 12th man.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Damon. Andrea Williams has got in touch. Hope you're well, Andrea. So it was a good performance on Saturday, but Boro a little bit leggy in the final third. And obviously, that might be a little bit of a concern, and maybe why Chris Wilder's rotating his forwards so much, because, as we say, we've got a busy schedule in the next month for the Boro, as for most teams in the Championship. And David Heslop's got in touch. He said, no team is a given in this league, lads. Bringing it back to Barnsley, Damon, have you got any memories from any previous games involving the Boro and Barnsley? Anything that you can remember or recall from previous games with them?
Oh, there's a few. I can go back to Ayrton Park. There's a load. Obviously my mind's a blank with that many memories that we've had. I think we've took them apart a few times. We've also been on the wrong end of results as well.
Yeah. I think I've always found it's been a bit of a tough place for us to go. I think Tony Mowbray's last game as a Boro player and a Boro manager was at Oakwell, and we lost both of those games. I think I remember getting absolutely soaked to the skin once for a game on a Saturday when Jan Aga Fjordov scored. We got absolutely drenched there. We drew one each. I think my favourite memory going to Barnsley was we got beat 1-0 in a game, but it meant we got to the playoffs. And I think Barnsley thought they'd gotten the playoffs. All the players were out on the main stand waving to the fans, and then the announcer said, "Oh, I got the score wrong in another game," and it meant Barnsley didn't make the playoffs. So they were all absolutely devastated. And that's going back a few years. But yeah, it's always been a tough place to go, Barnsley. I think I've been there a lot of times. I think I've only seen us win a couple. So as one of, as David Heslop mentioned there, one of our viewers mentioned, it's not a given that we're going to go there and win on site. We're going to have to earn the right to get the 3 points. It's going to be a tough match, isn't it?
It's definitely going to be a tough match. I said one of these days we will give someone a good hiding, because the amount of times we dominate a game, I think one of these days we will turn over a team. And I don't know if it's going to be Saturday. I have no idea, but it'll just be my luck. It will be, and I'll say 1-0 or something.
Go on then, Al. You can have your shout. What do you reckon it's going to be on Saturday down in South?
Should I go 1-0 or should I go 4-1? I'll go 3-1. Why not, Boro?
3-1 to the Boro. Yeah, well, Grave Strike said, like to see both forwards score and give them some confidence to get loads more. And I think all Boro fans will agree we're on that point, Graham. David Olsen's mentioned there. I think Barnsley will push forward and fall prey to our counter-attack, and it might well play into our hands, David. That's a good point you make. Luke's gone for a 1-1 draw at Barnsley, while Patrick Wheatley and Lee Thistlethwaite have gone for a pair of 2-0 Boro wins, which would be fantastic. But all will be revealed in the next week. Boro fans, unfortunately, we've reached the end of tonight's show here this week on Boro Fan TV. My thanks go to Damon for joining us. Thanks very much, Damon.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Great. And any Boro fans out there that want to do what Damon's done tonight and come on the show, please get in touch with us. We'd like to see as many Boro fans as possible come on this show. It's really great to hear from people like Damon and any other Boro fans that want to get involved. Please get involved with us and get subscribe and like our page on Facebook, and also check out our content on Twitter. We'll return next Monday to not only look back on this week's games with West Brom and Barnsley, but also preview the home games against Tottenham in the FA Cup and Luton in the league. But until then, from myself and Damon and everyone at Boro Fan TV, good night, have a good week, and up the Boro.
Up the Boro.